welcome to Garden Cafe. I'm Maureen, and this is my Texas Zone 8B9A garden. Today is part 2 of the July garden tour, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Behind the waterfall, I literally just replaced these 2 days ago, and they are already turning up and blooming. I'm so happy with this area. I will post a photo. It looks gorgeous all spring and pretty much most of May and into June with the petunias, but this time of year, petunias do not do well. And I'll put a picture up here what it looked like before I put these in. These are all turning up literally 2 days. I'll also put a picture in the corner here of what it looked like when I first put them back there 2 days ago. I'm very pleased with how this is looking, and I think that these purslane are going to be much happier mid-July going into the hottest months of Texas. And this little pot in the back of the wagon, little boy used to hold a fishing pole and some critter ran off with it. So I'm going to put something else back in there with his hands. But the plant back here, I'm actually going to be putting a video together. I've already taped it and done it. I basically took cuttings and pieces of other plants from around the yard to that I know are love my area's weather this time of year. And back here is tons of shade, so coleus back here, and it looks like actually there might have been a little cutting of purslane that ended up falling in there that looks like it's coming up, so that's kind of pretty. Anyway, this area back here I expect to be growing pretty rapidly. I'm happy to see it looks like those cuttings, those coleus cuttings, are going to like it there also. Over on the right side of my tiny pond, I redid these pots in the bridging spring to summer in Texas. I posted that video a few weeks ago. They're growing nicely. They're doing exactly what I want. These fell down on top of the flowers that were in front of them during the storm. So they've been put back into place and they look like they are pretty happy in this location. Coleus back here hasn't decided whether or not it likes this area. I'm going to bring you in closer because this is what I'm going to be doing with all of my dahlias, and I'm going to show you those on my front porch as well. This is an Ixora that decided to grow back. It was getting pretty much zero sunlight. It was behind these seed dahlias, which were, goodness, at least 3.5, 4 feet tall. This time of year in July, the dahlias decide to start regrowing, and they start growing from the ground again, and they stop sending as much energy to the upper part of the plant. I think it's just a survival thing. It's just too hot, too dry, and they basically just cut off a lot of that energy. So last year what I did was I cut them back to the new growth levels, and I ended up with a gorgeous flush of flowers towards the end of August and then going into September and October. So woohoo! The Ixora, I don't know. We'll see how it does. It came back from last year. It's not doing much, but it's there and it looks pretty. So we'll just see where that ends up. On the right side of the pond again, verbena, the pink and white verbena absolutely seems to love this area. It did not appreciate the storms that we did have. But it's bouncing back. You can see it's already starting to put out new flowers. The angelonium actually looked very sad. I have several of them all over the yard. They were my go-to summer big wow flowers last year. This year, not so much. But I'll tell you, since, they were underwater for 48 hours, they seem to be loving life now. So maybe it just didn't get enough water at the time. So this area is looking a little sparse, but that's okay. I just cut back the dahlias back there. And there's some gorgeous calendula in here. And I'm going to put a photo of what those look like. I'm so growing so many of those next year. But clearly it has seen its best life and is not appreciating July in Texas. So I may just cut those back to the ground. They're supposed to come back again next year. Along the front of the pond, I've got Sweet William. This has been here since last year. It seems to really tolerate the heat well and the sun well, and it clearly gets enough water here. The sunshine gazanias, which were gorgeous throughout the entire spring, yeah, they're not so thrilled anymore. I think I'm going to try just seriously deadheading this and cutting it back a little and see if it comes back. Just not sure. And then continuing along the way here, you can see another several of the Angelonium, different colors. I've got pink, white, and purple over there. Again, it's coming back, so I'm kind of pleased. The left side of the pond, these are the last of the petunias. They're still pretty. They're still growing, so they're just welcome to continue as much as they like. Again, back here, verbena, this entire patch of really beautiful verbena. So unhappy after being underwater. But I am seeing new buds forming in there. So hopefully this warmer weather with, giving it a chance to dry out a little, that it will be very pleased. I do have some zinnias growing in here. Honestly, when I planted those, I thought they were profusion zinnias, and I did not anticipate that they would grow so tall. So this area is going to take a little bit of work over here, but I did clip back a lot of the damage after the storm. So I'm just, as I said, trying to let things dry out a bit. This is my pretty well. All of this purslane. This seems to be the go-to. There's petunias pretty much from February until mid-May, towards the beginning of June, before those kind of get exhausted and finished for the year. And then the purslane seems to carry me all the way through October, November. So great colorful options, especially for my area. Up here, this coleus seems to be enjoying life quite a bit under the roof of this tiny faux well. I just like it. It's a pretty pop of color up here. So I'm really pleased with how this looks. And this, folks, is part of the ugly. I mean, some of it's beautiful, and I'll take you through. Most of them are seed dahlias. I've already cut back so many of them that grew gorgeous flowers all spring. I was cutting them and putting them in vases, and they are definitely done, and it's ready. Just like I did the other one over there, they're ready to get cut back to where the new growth is and have a chance for another flush of color towards the end, going into fall. I am going to plant some other flowers, and I'll show you some of the ones I have in here that I have seedlings of over here ready to go. So I'll cut these back, and then I'll plant some flowers. That's going to be an entire video on its own, is reviving the porch. This Calibrachoa is absolutely gorgeous. It's not supposed to be, folks. This time of year, this stuff's supposed to be long gone. And I actually planted begonias. Let me see if I can find buried there that are growing in now in anticipation of these guys just going south. It must be just a combination of the insane rain we've had in Central Texas on top of pretty much complete cloud days for goodness, almost a week and a half, and these slightly reduced temperatures in the evenings. For whatever reason, it's decided to come back, both pots. I don't anticipate this is going to last long. As I said, this time of year, these are usually gone. This is a gorgeous Rose of Sharon. I was in Houston, saw this absolute stunning rose of, actually two of them, the other one I already planted out, that grew just beautiful flowers. Loved them. And it had a bunch of seed pods on it. So if you've watched any of my videos, I took some of the seed pods, put them in my pocket, took them home, put them in the soil, and voila, big, huge, healthy Rose of Sharon plant. So this one is going to the backyard. It is going against the fence. I just haven't decided on its placement yet, but it has no question it's outgrowing this pot down here. I'm going to take you in closer because this collection of dahlias is a perfect example of what I'm going to do here on the front porch. So all of these dahlias, the taller, I mean literally 3-4 feet dahlias at this point. And folks, I mean, they still are growing some really gorgeous flowers, so I'm not ready to cut them all back yet. But as you can see down here, I cut this one here 4 days ago, and folks, look at the growth. I mean, these plants do not want to be, at least in Central Texas, do not want to be that far away from the soil. I'm sure it's conserving the water or whatever. So all of these are going to get cut back pretty low to allow a chance for that second flush going into fall. And going left along the back fence, and it runs for goodness 60, 70, it's quite long. I have the Thryallis, which is growing nicely with the mums at the base of it. Here are two of the Rose of Sharon cuttings that I took off of the front bushes that are doing really well. Plumbago, which is always giving, absolutely love it. And actually, I spoke too soon. There are still some petunias there that are also thriving, so they get to stay for a while longer. This gorgeous Mexican sunflower, after the storms, was literally laying in the grass. The soil loosened up, the roots pulled up, the weight of the entire plant came over. I love this plant. It just grows so many beautiful flowers. Right now, several of them are facing the wrong direction only because I've just restaked it and lifted it back up again. And yeah, some of these petunias down here are just about done for the year. So let me just clip a few of these back before we continue on. There we go. All right, let's continue to move down the row. My mums are just about done. I still have a few that are left, but I'm going to cut this back. And they'll flush out again in the fall. They sort of, all bloomed at once just before it rained. And then obviously sitting underwater, they just didn't appreciate it. But clearly these are very healthy plants. They are green. They're bouncing back very rapidly. So I am not concerned about them in any way. And my ginger curcuma, I planted a bunch of other things around here, including purple lantana and a 4 o'clock flower that I put back here, and sulfur cosmos, which I absolutely love. Everything needs deadheading here, people. I do realize that. So this is definitely a good, bad, and the ugly. The ginger curcuma came back from last year. I seriously did not expect it, but it did. And it is growing some new stems. We've had just this one flower for the last month. These flowers last 100 years. And they actually, once they start aging, they get these little purple flowers in these cups. So very interesting looking flower. I love it. And it can stay here forever. My sister's, now when it blooms, she has like a dozen of these flowers. And she cuts them and puts them in vases in her house. So I may try that next year. This year I didn't want to cut it since it was literally the only one. This is a Scarlet Bee Balm, which again was absolutely gorgeous and just had flowers everywhere. And again, it so did not appreciate being submerged. That's okay. I've been deadheading. I have so much deadheading, as I said to do. And then tucked back here was an ill-placed Mandevilla. I put it back there before I knew that the Scarlet Bee Balm was going to come back. I think that's okay. I temporarily, and this is just leaning against the fence, I haven't pushed it in yet, temporarily put this because the Mandevilla usually likes to climb. So if it does, and it'll climb up and over this area, I think that'll end up being gorgeous. We'll have to wait and see how that one develops. I grew just a ton of sunflowers this year from seed and planted them out. So you're going to see them pretty much everywhere and just about every different kind. I can't remember what kind these were. I want to say that these were the Yellow Torch Mexican sunflowers because they look so similar to the orange one that I just showed you. I love those. That's beautiful. Huge flowers. Absolutely stunning. Again, I do need to deadhead. These are two laying on top of each other. Two tuberous dahlias that I grew. And this was just an area I thought it might look pretty. It's crowding this container that I have that I like. So I might move these. I haven't decided. And this is Rudbeckia. My sister visited me a few weeks ago. She planted a bunch of these. I wasn't really clear on what they were, but everything she does in her garden is gorgeous. This is Rudbeckia. This is so pretty. I love that. So I can't wait to see the other ones come up. Back here is an oleander, folks. No flowers since the freeze about 5 years ago at all. And until last year, we got one beautiful flower in the summer. So, and I used this fish emollient plant food. So I think I'm going to use that again, see what we get out of it. And I want to bring you in closer to this 4 o'clock because this is all ready to harvest seeds and it's the easiest to harvest. I turned most of my 4 o'clock plants into 4 o'clock trees. I just broke off the lower branches and leaves and let it grow up into these tiny little tree shapes. So pretty, and they were gorgeous, but this one's already going to seed, and they're so simple. The flowers bloom, the flowers fall, and about a week or two later, if you look inside the cups where the flowers were tucked in, these are not small seeds, folks, are these nice seeds. And I love this fuchsia colored, so I'm going to come in here and do a lot of collecting of those so I can start them in November or December to go out in the spring. It's not a fabulous summer plant, but it sure was a gorgeous spring, you know, well, pretty much in Texas, February through May. It was gorgeous. These back here were gorgeous tuberous dahlias. And when the storm hit, this entire corner was another one of those areas that was just underwater for 48 hours. And the plants were so top heavy that they tipped over, literally pulling the roots and the bulbs, the roots and the tubes right out of the ground. So when I came out here, it was literally the roots were damaged. I propped them back up, staked them very well. I don't know. I think they're going to make it. I think they're going to pull through. Clearly a lot of powder mildew. I mean, they're not the happiest plants in the world, but I have a feeling they're going to do really well going forward. I don't anticipate that Central Texas will be getting a whole lot of rain for the rest of the summer, but we will wait and see. Mums down there, all different colors. That was one pot of mums tricolor. It had 3 different colors in it that I just planted out here. And look how big that entire section of mums is. Again, I need to cut them back. The darker wine colored mums over here, they have a ton of buds. I might wait to clip that one back. The yellow ones are pretty much ready to get cut back. The verbena here, oh, there we go. Clerodendron, growing everywhere. The pink and white verbena, these were death row plants when I got them in February. Gorgeous. Did not appreciate being underwater. I need to come in here and do a massive prune deadheading, cut it back, because you can see the flowers are starting to come back, which woohoo, but they're very unhappy plants. The 2 profusion zinnias, they bounced back. They looked awful just a week ago, and they've decided that they're coming back. Boy, do I have weeding to do too. Plants suffered, but the weeds seem to love those rains. And my beautiful drift roses, boy, they were seriously ones that did not appreciate being underwater. But there is a lot, I mean, there are several flowers that are coming up. And normally you don't have to deadhead drift roses. I'm going to go through and cut back so many. I mean, it was unhappy. But the leaves growing in underneath are thrilled. So I think this plant's going to do just fine. I think it's going to bounce back just fine. I think it just needs a little TLC, which is the name of the game for all of my plants this July. My bank of Gomphrena in every color under the sun. I'm going to bring you in closer. These are just so pretty. These are so pretty. I need to replace the flowers I had in the vases in the house. With the rains, I didn't come out here and do much clipping for my cut flower vases in the house. So I need to come out here and start doing that. But guys, look at all these colors. And this is another gift from my sister. She just planted this bank of Gomphrena, which I absolutely adore. Tucked in behind the Gomphrena and continuing along the fence are, it's my Christmas garden. These are all amaryllis, and I will be harvesting these bulbs in September and that will be another video. They have to be dried out for 2 months and then waxed. You coat them in wax. It's going to be a lot of fun, but this is all going to occur in September. But this is my Christmas garden, and in amongst this are paper whites, and I even have a poinsettia back there. So this truly is correctly named my winter garden. And most of this, as I said, will get put in pots or waxed or whatever for the holiday season this year. And back here, this entire garden, from this point wrapping all the way around to the other side, and we'll get around the other side in a minute. My husband and I made a no-till, and I want to say it was one of the first videos I posted last November. We laid down cardboard, soil, mulch, put in the bricks, and then let it sit through the winter. And then obviously this is a shade garden. So this area, and again, gift from my sister, she grew most of these from seed. Coleus, this is my coleus garden. So I'm really pleased with all the different colors and the mix and how it's growing in. I have a few others back here. Let me take you around the other side. This is my kaleidoscope butterfly bush. Just bought it. Goodness, February, and it was, a couple of sticks. So it's grown quite a bit. All of the rain in this area was underwater as well. It does not seem to have suffered much from all of the rain, which I am endlessly pleased with. And it has tons of new buds and flowers coming up. This bush is supposed to be huge, and I wanted something huge in this place, so really happy with this. This arch looks more like what I would normally expect in July. It's just starting to dry out, starting to look pretty sad. Still some gorgeous flowers. All of the flowers down underneath here are all seed dahlias from my sister. I'm honestly curious if I have anything in here that I did not get from my sister or from my sister's yard. So these, like I showed you on the back porch, I will be cutting them back so I can look for a second flush going into the fall. There are some pretty ones here that are still growing. So anyway, this side is jessamine growing up. This side is a trumpet vine growing up. And you can see they've already met up here, which I'm incredibly thrilled with. And these are doing very well. So I think I'm going to come through. I'll cut back the dahlias. Let these continue. I'm not expecting these to bloom, though, until at least the fall, probably next spring. So we'll see. Yeah, guys, these dahlias are so ready to be cut back. Just too much stress on them to grow these tall plants in this kind of a heat. And although you can't see him very well, this is Stonehead Garden. Again, seed dahlias, folks. They are ready to get cut back and restarted. That's just going to be a big go around the entire house and cut them all back. They did very well all spring. And frankly, they're still growing some very pretty flowers. I may not cut them all back. I'll go through and I'll review which ones I like, or which ones I want to keep tall for much longer and which ones I'm going to cut back. But we'll see. Stonehead Garden. And when I started gardening around 3 years ago, we just about needed a pickaxe to dig in the clay soil, hard clay baked soil, like a half an inch to put pumpkin seeds in. And the pumpkin vines grew all out across the lawn. I was fun. Harvested pumpkins, made pumpkin puree, made pumpkin muffins. Made everything with pumpkins. It was a great experiment, but probably not one I dedicate most of the yard to anymore. So the benefit of it, though, I didn't do much with this part, But the roots of that pumpkin vine, man, they broke the soil up so perfectly. So literally, I came in the next year and it was shovel ready. I mean, it was ready to, I obviously added amendments and compost and stuff, but you could dig in it, you could plant in it. Anyway, blue anise, blue sage, blue anise. I love this plant. It's just so pretty. It's just pops of color. Sunflowers. I love them this year. I do. They definitely need to be deadheaded. I need to come through here and cut out the ones that aren't doing well. But I'm kind of pleased. You get a lot of just pop of color and beauty from every single flower on all of these. And I have several different types of sunflowers throughout the yard. Over here is Savannah Rose, which I had the worst time until probably mid-May with thrips or bugs or some other things. So annoying. Starting to get some flowers back again. I need to deadhead. These actually were very beautiful roses. They're just ready to be cut back. But I have seen more roses, and they're pretty roses, which I was not getting in the spring. So whatever, and I did so many things, I'm not sure which one finally worked. But whatever did stopped eating this rose bush, which I am endlessly pleased with. This was an after the cleanup after the storm fiasco. And if you're interested, you can actually look at that video. After the big Central Texas storms, all of my zinnias were just laying down. And again, not quite as bad as the dahlias, but were pulled up at the roots. So I put a few stakes in the back and bunched them up. Terribly unattractive. And frankly, I don't think all of these zinnias are getting the air that they need. So this is something I'm probably going to do this afternoon. I'm going to put stakes, 4 stakes around this section, front and back, and I'm going to run the Velcro tape around it all. So rather than being all squished together, just single stakes in both of those bunches, they'll basically be corralled in, and I'll spread them out, fluff them out a little so that they'll have more oxygen in the center. Still growing beautiful flowers, but I can do a much better job. This was just a temporary fix after the storm. And this is my black diamond crepe myrtle. We got it last year, planted it, and had a few flowers. Thrilled. It's blooming. There's something so gorgeous about these super dark leaves and just that bright pop of red. I think these are gorgeous, and I think this is going to make this complete area so perfect. Now I am cutting back the lower branches. I want this to be more of a tree form because this is what you see looking out my dining room window towards this back garden area. So I'm thinking I want to lift this up so you can see everything behind it and yet still enjoy these absolutely gorgeous blooms. And this is that dining room window I was talking about that you look out of, and I'll show you the view from this side. This was a fire and ice bare root rose, and we ended up having these gorgeous yellow roses. Did not get, once again, seriously did not appreciate all the extra water, but it is bouncing back, and it does have a lot of buds. The flowers that opened, we had buds before the storms hit. Then when the storms hit, the buds that opened were just very anemic and not very pretty. So that's okay. I was really impressed with these roses all spring. I have no doubt what they grow will be absolutely awesome. Calendula, again, I mean, this is ready to be cut back. It did absolutely, it was stunning. As I said, I'm totally growing these again from seed next year. Let me see if I can cut this. But for this year, I mean, they're done. Some of the low, maybe some of the new growth will start flowering again. That'd be nice. I don't anticipate, it was supposed to be a spring flower. I'm kind of surprised it's lasted so long. Zinnias all in a row on the front, seed from seed. And let me move you over here. And these 3, 1, 2, 3 different colors. I want to say the first 2 are one color and the last one is more of like a white. But let me bring you in closer. They're called Cleum, and they are just the coolest alien looking plant. It has these tremendous long, this whole stem was part of the flower, and it had flowers as it grew up past every stage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it back to the beginning of the stem here, and it should grow some more. But I'm leaving it for the moment and the others because every single one of these, again, it looks so alien, are seed pods. So as soon as these turn a little darker, I will collect them off of this and the other plants, and then I'll just cut it back. I may be damaging its chance of growing another beautiful flower, but my sister gave me these three, planted them here, and I'd kind of like to have dozens of them next year back here. So we'll see. We'll see how long it takes for those seed pods to darken up. So this is what you see looking out my dining room window, is this gorgeous black diamond crepe myrtle. And this is what is behind it. I have my bench garden, which I'll review in just a second. And then back over there is the back side of where you saw that coleus garden. This is the other part of the shade garden, and we'll go there too. But you can see why, I mean, it's sort of, this is the view looking out the back window. So I'm really looking forward to limbing up this crepe myrtle as we go along through years, so that you can see everything that's behind it. And this is, well, aptly named my bench garden. Two very large pots you can't really even see anymore back behind here that we got from neighbors when they moved. I planted potato vines in front, and this is sort of, you know, it's the look I wanted. These are the lime green potato vines and then the red potato vine, and I like that look, and that's what I was going for. But boy, these guys need haircuts, because I'll tell you, if these potato vines are able to root into the ground, they are a Snuffleupagus in the garden. Love how they look in a pot though. Behind each, you can't really see that one because it's shorter than the potato vines at this point, are the Ixora. Love these. They're absolutely gorgeous. Guys, I have just deadheading for days to do in my yard, but I wanted a taller pop of color. I originally had Vinca behind here, but they were very unhappy in the shade. So I think the Ixora is going to end up working out better. I just need to come in and deadhead them and give them an opportunity to flesh out a little bit more and give me another burst of flowers. This back here is the Thryallis, one of my husband's favorite. He just loves how it's just constantly always flowering without any effort at all. So love this. And oh, Creeping Jenny. I planted Creeping Jenny on both sides with the hopes that it would meet somewhere in the middle. But I'm having the worst time getting rid of these green weeds. You can see the darker green color growing through. It's like surgery down on your hands and knees to pluck out. And it just seems to be a losing battle. So I need to do some more research on, because I want the Creeping Jenny, but I don't want those weeds. And last but not least is the very large no-till garden that my husband and I created. Back that way is the coleus I showed you on the other side of the Stonehead garden. And we created a path coming through here to this side. Transplanted three of the baby clerodendrons from over where the Christmas garden is, because they did not appreciate the sun. These guys, the sun touches the leaves and 10 minutes later they faint and look like they're dying. The next morning they perk up, which is just natural for the clerodendron, but didn't get a whole lot of flowers, and it was a plant in distress. So this year, because it grows 1,001 babies, I transplanted three of them. They should grow as tall as the fence, and they grow these beautiful pink flowers, and I'll put a picture of what those look like. So I'm looking forward to it. But you do have to keep an eye, because they are already growing babies. These guys could fill a field very quickly. And then down along here, I planted hosta with caladium in the center. All of them said they were going to be the same height, But my hostas are very small and the caladiums grew huge, but I'm fine. I love that red and green look. That's absolutely fine with me. And then Kalanchoe up front. And again, guys, for the 500th time, I need to come in here and do a ton of deadheading. Once I deadhead, I know they'll flush out with a new bunch of flowers. Well, that's it for part 2 of my July garden tour. I hope you enjoyed. Yes, I understand. I have tons of work to do, but I'm really happy with how much I've actually been able to get done over the last week. I'm just going to keep going with it and see how far we can get this. We have plenty of time. We have another 5 months of growing season for Texas, and many times into December. So plenty of time. I'm not in any huge rush. I just at times would like to cross my arms and blink my eyes and have everything look magazine cover perfect. But the journey is wonderful, and working out in the garden, there's nothing more peaceful than working out in the garden. If you enjoyed my video, please hit subscribe, like, and share. It helps me to grow my channel. Have a wonderful day.